Hello, Lunarly. My name is Helen Phelan. I'm the creator of Helen Phelan Studio, which is a digital mindful movement studio for both physical and mental strength, because I believe they are just super inherently connected. And today I have a really fun 30-minute full body Pilates-based workout that really emphasizes your breath so that we can de-stress, ground, and calm the nervous system while we get stronger all over. So let's get right into it. Let's find our hands and our knees, getting down into a quadruped position, all fours, shoulders over the hands and hips over the knees. Heading right into your Scapula Push-Up to warm up those postural muscles. We're gonna take a deep breath in, allow the shoulder blades to squeeze together and lower your sternum towards the floor. Deep breath out through the mouth, lift the chest up, spread those shoulder blades wide. So it's not a push-up with the elbows and it's not a cat-cow stretch with the back. I'm bringing my sternum close to the floor and then lifting my sternum away from the ground. Inhale on the down, soften through the elbows, soften through the tops of the shoulders, but make the muscles between the shoulder blades, those rhomboids, make them work. And then lift your shoulder blades wide, spread them apart, and fire up the muscles around the armpits, this lat area, your serratus anterior. One more time. Lifting up. Keep that spread between the shoulder blades. Watch out that you're not shrugged up. Draw those shoulder blades, glide them down along your spine, and let's step those feet out to our favorite, a plank, right off the bat to get warm. So I'm always down for modifying. If you want to drop to your knees, that's totally fine with me. Just make sure your butt is squeezed, your tail is slightly tucked under, and you're pushing away from the floor. So we're not in the sinking position. It's the active lifted, spread apart position. Shoulder blades drawing away from the ears. Hands not just pushing through the floor, but trying to pull the floor towards your toes. Send your weight into your tippy toes, push through the fingertips, take a deep breath in through the nose, hold it, and then even longer, exhale it through the mouth. One more time in that plank, squeeze the butt, inhale, and exhale out through the back of the throat like you're fogging up a mirror. Lift your butt to the sky, down dog. Just give yourself a little moment of stretch, pedaling through those feet. We have a fun little plank core series coming your way. So once you've massaged the backs of those legs with your foot pedal, rise up onto your tippy toes, curl your tail under, rock yourself forward into plank. Let's pause here for a second. So in your plank, you're still doing that butt squeeze we talked about. I don't want the back to round here. I want an open, proud posture. And you can even separate your feet a little bit wider for more support. Without wiggling your hips, come down into your forearm plank and come right back up onto your hands. And then switch the leading side. So I started with my right before. I'm gonna come down with my left. If you need that support, do this on your knees. In fact, I'd rather you do it on your knees and give me nice, clean, stable hips than do a little hula hoop up on the straight legs. So work where you are today in this moment. Might be different tomorrow, might be different than yesterday, probably is. And if you're doing this workout with someone, don't compare yourself to what they're doing. That is not relevant to you. One more time, down and up. On the right, feeling core, shoulders, legs, glutes. One more time, down and up on the left, coming up to your plank, butt to the sky. Once again, nice wide leg down dog. Again, pedaling through those feet. Not quite done with plank. Unfortunately, we have a million planks to do today. You're welcome. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you think about them. Rise up to those tippy toes, curl through your spine, come back into that plank. Make sure the shoulders are on top of those hands. We love to creep into this position, so make sure you give yourself a double check. Pay attention to what's going on in your body. Feet are gonna come back to your hip width apart if possible. Right knee only goes right elbow, back to plank, left elbow, back to plank, down dog. Exhale forward. Hug it in, plank it, left side, plank it, down dog. So you get a down dog or a pike in between each of these. I'm still on the right leg only. Plank first, mountain climb right, twist that mountain climb left, butt up to the sky. I want you to think squeeze your pelvic floor and your bum as you come back into plank. Butt up. Last time on this side, we're planking, mountain, mountain, butt up, final time. Give yourself a pedal. And then you can just bring yourself gracefully down to your knees, flip right over to your back. So I know we just did that right side. I have a plan, I promise. Lay down on your back. Find your neutral pelvis. Lift the legs up to your tabletop position. Knees are stacked on your hips, hands are behind the head. We're gonna curl up with our exhale, big breath in. And exhale, curl up, extend right leg out on your low diagonal. Inhale, lower the head and chest back down. Same leg, but now twist your upper body to the left as that leg extends. So we are really fatiguing that whole right side of our body. Exhaling to curl up towards the center, gaze in at your belly button rather than up to the sky, and then lower your head and chest with control. Same exact leg, but with a twist of your T-spine of your upper back. Same thing, exhale, curl it up. Inhale, control it down. That left leg does not move. I'm trying to bring my chest, my ribs to my hips as I curl up. And then I'm trying to bring my right armpit towards my left thigh as I twist. One more time in this position, curling up, twisting it out. Come back to the floor, curl up one more time, chest lifts, leg extends, leg doesn't move, but your upper body is gonna twist right and center. I want you to feel those right obliques, so draw your attention to the right side of your waist. Making sure both butts are staying on the floor. You're not rocking to your favorite side. Letting your head be heavy in your hands. Last time with the twist. Now hold your curl, no movement in the upper body, but right leg comes in, extends back out. Same exact thing. Exhaling on the out, inhaling on the in. Make that breath a little more dramatic, a little louder. Last one. Curling up even deeper for that final one before hugging your knees into your chest. Swirling the knees around in opposite directions, loosen up those hips. Look right and left. Keep the neck nice and loose. All right, so while we're here on the floor, we're gonna go in reverse order and make our way back up to the hands and knees. So you know the drill, you know the exercise already. Tabletop the legs. We're just gonna do it opposite side. Left leg is gonna be your only working leg. Curl up, center, and inhale back to the floor. Curl up, extend that left leg, but twist it towards your right thigh. Inhale, bring it back to the center again. Each time I curl up, I try to get the shoulder blades off the ground. And I want you to think as you twist, you're wringing out your spine like a wet towel. And even without the twist as we come center, I want you to think of compressing all the air out of your center, deepening the belly button towards your spine on the exhale, and on the inhale, expanding in 3 directions. That means sides of the ribs, fronts of the ribs, low belly, and upper back. Up through the center. And to your twist. We have one more of those. Probably feels a little bit different than it did on side one because we had done the whole plank series already on side one. So sensation-wise, it's gonna be slightly different. You're not wrong. Curl all the way up, stay up. That left leg doesn't move. Just give me that twist to the right, back to the center, twisting towards the top leg only. It's a good rule of thumb. You're always twisting towards the top leg in any of these laying down ab series. 2 more, really dig into that twist. Make sure you're breathing, do not hold your breath. Hold that curl. Left leg comes in, inhale. Exhale, reach it back out. I want the abs to feel flattening, compressing, corseting as the leg extends. Give me a deeper chest lift. Shoulder blades not on the ground. You can even put one hand on your belly to feel how they contract in as the leg extends. Certain amount of contraction the whole time because we are holding our curl. Last time, curling up even deeper before hugging it all in. Again, give your neck a little mini breather, shake it. No, from side to side, and we swirl those knees around inside the hips a few more times, lubricating the hip socket, bringing some synovial fluid into that acetabulum, or fancy word for hip socket. And then I want you to tabletop those legs once again. Bring your hands between or behind your thighs. Curl your head and chest up and press your low back into the ground. So you're rolling like a ball here. Use your abdominals, not momentum to find your seated position right on your tail, almost like a little mini teaser. And then again, abdominals, not momentum. Roll it back, find your shoulder blades, and find your tail. So the first one or two, you can cheat a little, give me a little momentum just so you can get into the swing of things, no pun intended. But I want you to be able to have control enough to slow it down, because that's actually where your abs do the work. If we're swinging through it, it's not so much your abs as it is momentum and force. You should be able to pause yourself up here on the tailbone and up here on the shoulder blades. And a little fun thing, if you feel yourself leaning more to the right side of your spine or leaning more to the left side of your spine, just pay attention to what you favor, because that could mean maybe there's a muscular imbalance going on. Nothing big, nothing serious, but just good information to have. If you want to make this a little tougher, you're going to take your elbows, connect them to your thighs, and don't let them disconnect, so that you roll back. This is the fun part. Roll it up, keep the elbows connected. If that feels crazy, bring them back to your thighs. Doesn't matter to me which variation you choose, as long as you control it and you feel those abs working. Inhaling back. I haven't forgotten about our left leg plank, so don't worry, I never forget. That's a lie, I forget all the time, but I remembered this time, so that's all that matters. Inhale forward. Exhale up one last time. Really squeeze the elbows to your thighs if possible, and then sit up as tall as possible as those feet come to the floor. No longer in that curled position, but in a nice tall seated position. Feet come together, a little butterfly stretch. So you can use your elbows to gently encourage the thighs to deepen towards the ground, or you can just let gravity do its thing. And I want to add a little undulation to the spine there. So I'm in a nice tall, flat back, neutral spine. I'm gonna flat back, hinge over. When I can't hinge anymore, start to round through that low back, look in at the belly button, sit up tall again. Flat back, curl it in, sit it up tall one more time like that. Flat back, open chest, proud collarbones, rounding it in, sitting tall, reverse it, chin to chest, get your C curve and dive through. Open the chest, flat back to lift yourself back up. So it's dive bomb down, C curve, pull yourself forward. I'm gently pressing my thighs to the ground. Don't force it. You never want to crank your body into a stretch it's not ready for. This is our final one. Hopefully getting those hips a little more ease in them after all that ab work. I know that sometimes they get cranky there. And now we're in a nice position to hit all fours once again and get back to our plank series. I told you we were doing a million of these today. You're gonna step it out, find your plank hip width apart. Remember, don't puff up the chest. I wanna think lift with those armpits, pushing away from the ground, but not into an angry cat position. Open up at the chest. Don't make yourself small and hide your center. Show it off. Think proud, proud, proud. Left knee only goes elbow. Right elbow. Down dog it up. So down dog is our favorite part. It's a little mini breather. Work on getting your heels closer to the floor each time you hit it. We hit plank first. Pause in your plank before going mountain climber. Mountain climber, plank. Down dog again, press through the heels, rise back up through them, hit your plank, squeeze. The plank is not a static position. Even though it looks like nothing's happening here, I'm pulling my hands towards my toes, I'm pushing away from the ground, I'm pulling the floor apart. There's lots of energy flow in a plank, even if it doesn't look like it to the naked eye. Take your time, move slower so you can explore that energy flow, rather than just going plank, knee, knee, plank, up. Although it's fun sometimes to move sort of like to the beat like that. I much prefer getting deeper into the details of what's going on with the body. You're finding your plank one more time. Back to our army crawl. You can separate those feet as wide as your mat. Lower down with your left arm without wiggling your hips. Right arm. Lift back up. Here we are. Reverse it. Right arm down. Now, if you feel the hips swinging with you as you do that, show me your kneeling plank and get really strong doing it here on the knees. And then next time you do this class, you can try it with straight legs. But your goal here, more than hitting a pretty picture or comparing yourself to whatever the most advanced version is finding hip stability and what that means for your body. Don't forget to breathe. Don't hold that breath. Last time, left arm down. Last time, right arm down. butt hits the sky one more time. Let's hang here for a moment. We haven't really explored down dog too much. We've been moving through it. So think heels digging towards the ground. It's okay if they don't touch the floor. Obviously mine clearly don't, but I want you to think flat back, which means no rounding at that low spine. If you can't get a flat back with straight legs, just give me a little soften in those knees. You'll still get a good stretch, I promise, and your back will be much happier. Meanwhile, you're hugging ribs towards the thighs. See the difference there? This is arching my back, and this is hugging rib cage towards the thighs without shrugging my shoulders, looking in at the toes, at the belly button, pushing the floor away, and just gradually feeling how the heels will continue to sink further and further. They may reach the floor, they may not. Whew, that feels good. Bring it to the knees and take it all the way into your face down position. So I'm gonna bring my legs hip width apart and bring hands so that my palms are facing up. I'm starting in a lifted position with my shoulder blades actively squeezed together, my pubic bone pressed into the floor. So it's not a tuck gripping the butt, but it is an active press of those hips into the floor so that you're protecting your low back. All right, so you're gonna lift your chest up a few inches as you push your arms to the sky. Exhale, inhale, either lay all the way down or come back to this hover. Totally up to you what you wanna do today. Exhale, lift. What I do want mandatory is that you're squeezing through those arms as if you're wearing like 20 million pound dumbbells in your hands, or carrying them, not wearing them. Inhale on the down, exhale on the up. And just as much as I'm pushing the ceiling up and away, squeeze those triceps, body weight only, so make it count. You gotta give yourself the mental resistance. But I'm reaching my fingertips towards my toes so that I am not stressing out my neck. Exhale to lift. As you can see, it's not a huge range of motion. I don't care how flexible you are. It's not a contest. This is a strength exercise. Press those hips through the floor. If your back is bothering you, you can give your butt a little squeeze for more support. But I want you to really key into those low abs. And if your back is bothering you, make that range of motion even smaller and make sure you're really pressing those hips through the floor. The second you arch your back is the second your back starts to bother you. Lifting up one more time. Chest stays up, so no more bouncing of the upper body, but I want you to think arms press up, arms lower, below the hips, above the hips. The work here, it's a mobility drill as well as a strength drill, is I'm getting those arms as high up as you can without letting the chest drop down. So we're working on opening the chest, freeing that energy line of the front line, as well as strengthening the posterior chain, the backs of the arms, the upper back of the booty, the hamstrings, all those muscles that don't work quite as hard as the front of our body, just because, you know, you don't take your notes behind your back. If you do, then maybe you have a little something different going on with you. Congratulations. But for most of us, our front does a bit more work than the back. And when we even out that imbalance, we can help relieve a lot of pain and feel a lot better in our day-to-day life. Arms up, arms down. One more time. Arms are up. Flipping the palms in. Your arms should be tender at this point. Squeeze them towards center. Open as wide as your butt. Squeeze towards center. Open as wide as your butt. Try to keep your hands above your butt, not skimming down the side. And imagine you're squeezing a really heavy magic circle or a ball. Keep reaching those fingertips away from you towards your toes. Pressing those hips through the floor. It's an arm exercise. 3, it's a back exercise. It's a core exercise. Your back is your core. Last time, woo, little shakes, and rest it down. Give those hips a little wiggle from side to side and push it back to all fours. So arms should be feeling alive and awake at least. Let's go into a little cat-cow. Spread those shoulder blades wide. Should feel amazing to expand and breathe into that spot between the shoulder blades. And then inhale, open the chest, let the abdominals relax. Exhale, round it under, necklace in the mouth. Inhale, open up at the chest. One more time. Finding your all fours position. So a little bit more upper body work. We're gonna take shoulders right over those hands and watch where my butt is. Let's just watch me do this once before you join me. I'm gonna bend the elbows, keep the nose in line with the fingertips, and then straighten the elbows right back up. So you might be thinking kneeling push-ups seems like it'd be easy. You should feel your triceps right away, first repetition. So let's do this together. Butt right on top of your knees. If you start to let your butt come back, that's when it starts to feel like child's pose. That's when you're like, what am I doing? This doesn't feel like an exercise. I'm here to tell you it should be hard on the very first try. It's not one that you build up to. You feel it right away if you're keeping the tension in the triceps. So when we keep the nose right over the fingernails, tension stays in the triceps. If you can't get all the way to the floor yet, that's totally fine. You can always bring it just halfway or whatever the depth, the maximum depth is for you. Just keep your back flat. Be careful not to splay because that compresses that low back just like when we were laying face down. So you have to lift belly button up and away from your waistband and think about spreading wide through that low back. So the back is protected, your core is working, and when your core is working, everything works harder and smarter. Watch out that you're not shrugging the shoulders. We should not feel stress in the neck. This should be soft and easy. Bending on the down. Exhaling on the up. Elbows are pointing towards the toes rather than out towards the side. That's what makes it a little bit more unique than your traditional push-up. And you should feel your core catch you on the way down. So don't fall to the ground. I want you to use your core to support the lowering down. Lifting it right back up. One more time. This time we come all the way up, shoulders right on top of the hands. We're gonna lower down just halfway. Careful not to lock out those elbows. I know it's hard. I'm tempted to do it for me too. Coming down halfway, still not shifting back. In fact, put a little more weight in your fingertips. Can you open the chest a little bit more without rounding the back? So abs in, open chest. Keep those elbows bent, go down and up. Never fully dropping to the floor, never fully straightening those arms. Try to hug the elbows close to your body, as if you could shave the sides of your ribs with those elbows for 4. 3, shins flat to the ground, no tucked toes. 2, and 1, push it all the way up. Separate those knees, little mini child's pose. First one of the day, forehead to the floor. Walk your hands all the way forward, tent those fingertips and try to keep traveling them forward. Feel a nice armpit stretch, nice stretch through the upper back, and just breathe. Let your body weight heavily into the ground, but as you inhale, try to puff up your back and spread those shoulder blades wide. Feeling how that breath travels to new places, new tight places, and exhale, weighting heavy into the floor. That upper back region tends to be the stickiest part of our back because when we're stressed out, we keep our breath really shallow. We get it all into these accessory breathing muscles in the neck, and that causes tension to lock and build up in the upper back over time. So enjoy this moment. One last time. Coming forward again, find that all fours, just to travel it right back into down dog. So this is one of my favorite body weight upper body exercises. So I'm hip width apart with the legs. Remember, you don't need your heels on the floor, but you do need a flat back, which means you might need to bend the knees a little. We're gonna make a triangle with the fingertips. So triangle, fingertips together, thumbs apart, shoulders unshrugged, ribs hugged towards the thighs. Instead of coming forward into a plank, I want you to just bring your forehead towards that triangle and then extend your arms straight up. So I keep this triangle shape of my torso the entire time. All that's happening is I bring the head closer to the floor, back up. Everybody loves to turn it into a push-up because that feels more familiar in our muscle memory. But it's okay if it feels wonky, if it feels weird, as long as you feel those arms and those shoulders and your core. I recommend an inhale on the way down, inhaling on the down. Exhaling on the up. Don't let those shoulders shrug. We're in an internal rotation of those arms. Inhaling, keep the shoulders away from the ears. I like to imagine I'm wearing really long dangly earrings that I want to show off. Whew, they are hard. Exhaling on the up, really dig through those heels each time your butt comes closer to the sky. So it's many things happening here. It's a really dynamic movement. Strength for those triceps, those shoulders, the core, but also getting a nice lengthening through the backs of the legs, which we'll need in a second when we bridge. Last 2, we are gonna pulse it out. 1, last full range, coming into your halfway, elbows are bent. They never fully straighten, they never fully bend. 5, 4, stick your butt out, flare those sits bones, reach those heels to the ground, unshrug the shoulders, push all the way straight, knees to the ground. Holy moly, sit back onto your bottom, hands behind the back, interlock the fingertips, reach your heart up a bit, reach the hands down and out. It might not get super far behind you if you're feeling really tight here, but I do want you to try and get a little bit of lift so that this has to get pulled back open. Correct all the slouching we do with our screens. All right, so that's enough upper body. Head back to your back, laying all the way down on your spine. The best part of Pilates is laying down on your back. Feet are hip width apart, and notice how your feet connect to the floor. Do you roll to the pinky toes, to the big toes? Is your arch collapsed, or are your foot muscles active? Let's try to activate the muscles of the foot. So if you can see, this is me relaxed, and this is my foot muscles nice and active. Those things are working. It's a full body. Relax the back tips of the shoulders to the ground. Take a nice deep breath in as you exhale. Just press your low back through the ground, a gentle pelvic curl. I have not squeezed my butt yet. And then softening back to neutral. So not as dramatic as arching the back. I'm just going tuck under, feel those low abs connect, feel that stretch from the lumbar spine, and then releasing it back to neutral. Imprint, tuck it under, and neutral. We all have a different amount of curvature in our spine, so you may not ever be able to find complete imprint if you have a big inward curve in your low back. And your neutral might look different than mine in that case too. That's okay if you have more space behind your low back on the floor, as long as your ribs aren't flared open. Hug those ribs together and make it so that your pubic bone and your hip points are level. That's your marker of neutral, not whatever curvature is going on in the back. Meanwhile, we find our imprint, press that low back heavily through the ground, whatever that means for you. Engage your glutes, give them a little tap, wake them up, make sure they're activating when you squeeze them, and roll your hips up into a bridge. Pause here for a second. Look at my bridge. Make sure you're not arched at the back. Make sure you're not so high that you're on your neck. So bring your weight into your shoulder blades. Keep those glutes engaged. Tuck of the pelvis, abs wrapping inward towards your center, and knees are hip width apart, not flopping out and open. Breath in through the nose as you reach your hips forward, elongating the spine, and exhaling to slowly articulate and massage every single vertebra through the floor. So I'm not falling to the ground. I'm body rolling like a wave up and a wave down. Exhale, roll it up, butt is engaged. Hips press up. I want to reach up with my hips, not with my neck, so that this is stretching in front of the thighs, front of the hips, and slowly rolling it down. One more time. Exhaling out the mouth, lifting it up. Breath in. Next exhale, right leg comes up to tabletop. Nice marching position. See how I'm at a right angle, right knee over right hip. Return it to the floor. Inhale. Exhale, left leg. Bring it up for a moment. Hips are level. Pushing that right foot through the ground. Inhale to lower it down. Alternate on your own timing with your own breath. So your exhale will lift the leg up. Your inhale will take the leg back down. Your exhale will lift the leg up again. And so on and so on. Listening to your own body more than me. Shh. Make sure that bottom leg, that bottom or the hip that's on the standing leg is pushing up. So I'm not sinking my butt down as the leg goes up. I'm trying to expand that stretch. Sometimes it's nice to bend those elbows and think about pressing the elbows through the floor, as long as you don't let that happen. Next time right leg is up, it's a hold. We stay totally still. But just like our plank, being still does not mean that there's no movement. I'm trying to push the floor away with my left heel. I'm trying to pull the mat towards my butt with my left heel. Trying to press that left hip flexor up to the ceiling. Trying to hug that left knee towards my center. Reach that right hip away from the ground. Breathing in through the nose. Breathing out through the throat. Right foot on the ground. Same pause on the second side, left leg up to tabletop. Push down through the ground with that right heel. Pull the floor in with your right heel. You should feel shakiness in your right butt. Try to keep those hips level. Try not to hike your hip up on one side. Reach the pelvis to the ceiling. Hug the right knee towards your center. Inhale. Exhale. Right leg one more time. This time we pulse it out. 10 pulses, butt up, soften it down. There's a squeeze as you lift, a soften as you lower, but never going more than an inch or two. Keep it nice and controlled. 5 more. One more pause. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth. We transition, left leg up, 10 little pulses, up an inch, soften it down. Making sure that this is not just focusing on the up, but on the press down of that right foot. So as I lift the pelvis up, I'm pushing the floor down. That's gonna make your hamstring work much harder. Should be tired at the end of this. Don't coast through it. Pay attention to how you're moving, how you're breathing, how you're stretching, how you're strengthening. Last 2. Last 1, we hold it, inhale. Exhale, left leg to the floor. Body roll it all the way down. Your tailbone should be the last thing to touch the floor. Releasing tension, right heel crosses over the left thigh, flexing at that top foot. You can stay here if that feels good, or you can hug the left thigh in. You can stay here if that feels good, keeping your pelvis in neutral, or you can take a left leg, reach it up to the sky, bend it back in. So we're opening the right hip as well as the left hamstring. Little double duty stretch here. I like to flex my foot as the leg goes up to the sky, it gets deeper through the ankle, the Achilles, and I keep the crossed leg flexed as well because that just feels way better on your knee over time, less pressure. Reach it up to the sky, keep it up, stick your butt to the floor, reach your pubic bone forward, reach your right knee forward, and then carefully untangle yourself. Retangle yourself on the second side. Top foot is flexed, important. Hugging that right thigh in, if you like, and then extending right leg up to the ceiling, bending it back in. Big reach up to the sky, bending it back in. Try not to lean to your favorite hip and try not to let your tailbone curl under. Keep reaching that pubic bone forward so you have a long spine, a neutral spine. Nice intense stretch for that left hip. Really good if you've been sitting a lot. Who hasn't been? And then extending it up one more time. Big reach, butt to the floor, heel to the sky. And let it go. Untangle yourself. Hugging hands around the fronts of your shins. Use your abdominals to do your slow roll sit up. No momentum, just like we practiced earlier. And come to a close. Thanks so much for moving with me. I hope you enjoyed that and got a good full body strength on throughout that class. And I'd love to hear how it went for you. So reach out to me on Instagram or in the comments, whatever you want. I hope you enjoyed that class. Remember, you can always find me on Instagram at Helen V. Phelan and on my website, helenphelanstudio.com. And there is a free trial to join the rest of my online movement classes. I post a new Pilates class, a new cardio class every week, and I also do one live stream so that we can move together. So I'd love to have you there. Looking forward to seeing you. Bye-bye.